Very welcome to this EUGLOH webinar series. It's called Spotlight on Education. 1 hour, 2 aspects, 1 topic, 2 partners. And today's topic is seed money for development of new learning experiences. And initially we had 131 persons registered for the seminar, and from all 9 partner universities. A very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Kristina Miolin. I work at Lund University, where I am the institutional manager for EUGLOH. I also have an expertise on joint programs, and I'm also, in that sense, a part of Work Package 2. But now I will present the real experts of the hour. So here to talk about the topic of today are our 2 EUGLOH colleagues. It's Professor Katja Radon from LMU, Ludwig-Maximilians-Universität in Munich, and Sara Westman from Lund University. Katja Radon will be giving us some thoughts on why seed money is needed and why EUGLOH wants academics to collaborate, and also give some personal experience from this area. And after that, Sara Westman will be talking about what kind of initiatives can be supported through the EUGLOH seed money and how to apply. So both of our speakers are active in EUGLOH's Work Package 2 and in development of this EUGLOH initiative. We are, of course, also here to answer questions. So please write your questions in the Q&A during the presentations, and then we will have a good amount of time answering any questions you might have at the end. We will try to spend at least 30 minutes on answering questions. After the webinar, there will be an email with a link sent to you all where you can find more information. And this webinar will also be recorded and made available on the EUGLOH YouTube channel. And with that, I will hand over to Professor Katja Radon.
Hi, thanks, Kristina. Thanks, Kristina and Sara, Isabel, for the excellent organization. I'm quite excited because it's my pleasure that I may talk about the fun part of this afternoon. Which is, so why we should collaborate, why we should develop joint programs together, joint training modules and so on, and what might be our benefit out of this. Benefit is a good keyword because all of us as teachers and researchers I guess at all 9 partner universities are quite busy. So like the lady on the picture who you now should see. Developing joint courses, programs, whatsoever might be just on top of the list of all the different things you have to do and we have to do. So when we started to think about that and even started to think about the grant application, we said, well, there must be some benefit for us, the educators, on developing something like this. And one idea was to give seed money so that we will be able to dedicate some time on it, and also to make meetings, for example, possible through this. So I think this was, I just have to move my screen here a bit so that I can see my slides myself. Yeah, now it's working. So this, I think, is something why we need seed money, and it gives us time, it gives us the possibility to meet, and also ensures that we can involve people into the development and make something which is sound and has good quality. Next question, and now, why does EUGLOH want academics to collaborate? What's the benefit of it? Well, it's a benefit for us, the academics, I guess, but also for our students. And I guess especially those of us who are at the beginning of their career might still be looking for collaboration, and there EUGLOH really is a great opportunity. And learning projects, teaching projects could be a great opportunity to start a collaboration and then go beyond that. And when we offer teaching programs together, then we also make our students collaborate. And this picture is just from a journey I made 2 weeks ago to Bolivia to one of our partner universities at LMU, where we had a fair for students, not only us from LMU Munich, but also from the partners in Latin America. And you see how much interest this raised. So they were coming, really asking tons of questions and so on. And how did they become aware of this fair and of this program? Well, this was via our online module. We are teaching together there in Latin America. So really, collaboration of academics also means collaboration of our students. This means student exchange, and also, yeah, potentially means working together on research projects afterwards. What's our advantage when we are co-creating teaching programs, learning programs, modules, courses, or even degrees? Well, we learn from each other on how things are taught, how the contents are seen in different countries. We can improve our own teaching, and we can enrich our teaching. And as I mentioned before, it's also a step towards networking in other areas. So this as an introduction very briefly, because Sara has many important things to say about how things work then out. But now I would like to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit more about my personal experience of what I could recommend to you when it comes to develop joint programs, joint modules, joint courses. Well, one thing is consider other forms of learning or e-learning specifically than Zoom. All of us are by now tired of Zoom sessions. The students especially are tired of Zoom sessions. So think about active forms of e-learning. Here some screenshots of our the programs we offer via Moodle at LMU to our partners in Latin America, or with our partners in Latin America jointly. And why do I insist so much on e-learning? Well, climate change is a topic where we always need to consider whether traveling is really worthwhile doing, especially for small sessions of teaching. So have this in mind. E-learning is not only Zoom, and there I think you can be creative, and there is also a lot of experience in the network with other forms of e-learning. Then, well, of course, developing something is nice, but it should also be used in the end. And there, my recommendation, I think this is also what the literature shows, is that include what you're developing in the curricula for as many students as possible, so that it's really used afterwards. Otherwise, well, of course, what you're doing and developing is interesting and encouraging and so on, and it's international. But students also have other duties. They have a work-life balance, maybe more than us, which is good. But so then make it worthwhile for them also to participate. And then the other recommendation, if you haven't had any co-creation of programs, modules, and so on, don't start with a PhD program together. Start with something small, maybe with a teaching unit, with a COIL. Yeah, so baby steps like the baby on the picture. And then another recommendation, which might be trivial, but often is not taken into consideration. At all our partner universities, we have experts in education, so involve them. Here, for example, is one outside the EUGLOH network, one method on how to do teaching design, ABC learning design from London. This is one format, but just think about also pedagogical aspects when you design something. So this is something many of us ignore, but it's good to think about it, and they are really, really helpful, our colleagues. And then another aspect which I came across frequently and which sometimes also is overseen, consider the necessary IT infrastructure. Think about when you start collaborating. Maybe you start with one partner and collaborating on how to realize things on your IT infrastructure. This is also important. It makes life a lot easier when you think about it from the beginning. And then another recommendation from my personal experience is involve students in content creation. They can also tell you what students like and how it works. And maybe you can even offer them a scholarship to come to your institution via the seed money, so that then they, as an international team, for example, start creating things. They should maybe not be as young as my boys were when I took this picture, but yeah, so think about bachelor, master students with some experience on the topic, and then let them help you create content. So that's already all from my side. I'm looking forward to your questions, and I'm especially looking forward now to how to do it, how to apply for the funds, and what we can do with it, which will be given by Sara. Thank you.
Thank you, Katja. Yes, we will soon move over to Sara, and she will talk about all the practical details of this. And please, if you have questions, feel free to write them in the Q&A, and we will get back to them after Sara's presentation. Yes, so I'll hand over the word to Sara.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to share with you some slides to support all the ideas here. So in the EUGLOH Seed Money Program, there are 3 different kinds of initiatives that we are going to support. And as Katja said, it might be good to start with something small, and that's something we really have considered, that what can we do that is small and easier if one doesn't want to jump into something larger straight away. So we are going to support those who want to do a collaborative online international learning, so-called COIL. And that is a concept that is not that familiar at all partners. So the idea is that you have 2 existing courses at 2 different partners, and there is some kind of overlap between these courses, something where the students can collaborate and do it online. It might be comparing something, it might be in form of group work, seminars they are doing together, developing, presenting something. So we want it to be kind of smaller size. The workload should be between 2 and 4 ECTS, at least 30 students, and the partners can get 10,000 euros to share between themselves for developing a COIL. Of course, we want to support the development of new courses as well. This is also kind of smaller courses, and they should be offered either as virtual courses or as a way to develop BIPs, that is the Erasmus Blended Intensive Programs. So to plan the BIP, to develop the BIP, and then to be able to offer it with the Erasmus funding. Also here we want to be 2 partners from the EUGLOH Alliance. One can also be more partners from the Alliance, or it could also be involving institutions outside of the Alliance as well. So we're looking for a bit larger courses here, 50 students or more, and one can get 15,000 euros to share. More complex, of course, is to develop a joint program at master level. We want it to be 3 partners involved, and more work, and of course also more money involved in the work. The common denomination for all these three opportunities is that we want to have pedagogical methods that are student-centered. We want there to be a clear plan on how the students can develop their transversal skills, so they learn skills that they can use outside of the course as well. We want the courses and programs and COILs to be interdisciplinary, and they should have a focus on global health as well and the future challenges of the society. And as many of you know, when we're talking about global health, we are really including all academic aspects of challenging and sustainability of the societies. We try to make it kind of easy and straightforward to apply for seed money. But on the other hand, of course, we want to be able to have a good picture of the proposals and to do a fair assessment of them. So it's good to remember that one needs to have the approval of the home institution before submitting the application. And it differs between different partners at what level that has to be made. In some cases, it's vice chancellor, it might be the dean of the faculty, or at least at institutional level. When submitting the application, there should also, of course, be the established contact between those who are going to collaborate. So you have the names of the exact persons that are going to be involved. There must be a budget for what you're planning to do. It doesn't have to be shared equally between the partners, but there must be a budget for what your plans are. A timeline, what kind of activities are you going to do when? When should the course syllabus be ready, or when are you planning to meet, or when do you plan to get the input from other partners, or whatever your activities are going to be? Yes, we want also to have the content of the learning experience. What are the learning outcomes you're planning to achieve? What kind of pedagogical methods are you planning to use? And very important, that you should have identified the potential challenges. So you don't need to have solved all the problems when making the application, because this is something you're going to work on. But you should be a list of, okay, these are the important things that we are going to look into. It could be challenges such as administrative challenges in accepting the students, or it might be the challenges of collaborating between two different faculties and two different partners, or any kind of challenges. So they should be identified before making the application. The deadline is the 1st of February 2024. And we are, of course, looking forward to get a lot of good proposals or initiatives to support. But it might also be good to know that we have already set the deadline for the next round of application, and that is the 1st of February 2025. So if you start collaborating and start writing a proposal and you feel that, oh, it's not good enough for this year, well, perhaps you could continue working on it and make contacts and submit it in 2025 instead. After we have gotten all the proposals, we will look at them using the criteria, and these have been set by one of the task groups in EUGLOH, where all the 9 partners have been active. So we're trying to look at things that are really working for all the 9 partners in the alliance. We will nominate a review board to assess all the proposals, and then the task group will make the formal decision, and we're expecting the results to be ready in March 2024, to allow plenty of time to work and start collaborating before the summer holiday sets in. After a few months has passed, we will look for a progress report to see how things are going, if you have encountered any issues, making sure that the collaboration has gotten off to a very good start. And by the end of the project, we want to have the final report of the results to the work package in EUGLOH. So is the course syllabus elaborated? Have you a plan for how the COIL can start off and so on? And then also, of course, a financial report that has to be made to the home institution in accordance with the regulations at the home institution. one very common question is, okay, we've seen the sums of how much money you can get for the different kinds of initiatives, but how can we use the money? How am I allowed to do it? So first and foremost, this is hopefully a way to be able to create some time for the staff involved. So you can use the money for salaries, of course, in accordance with how it's working at your institution. But the idea is to create time, to not have to, perhaps you can have some other person hired to do part of your teaching or your administrative work or whatever is needed. It will also be possible to use it to travel, to meet each other, to actually talk and see where one is coming from, how we can work together. And it might also mean that you're organizing meetings of hosting the partners coming to your place and discussing things. As I mentioned, a budget should be submitted in the application. And this is a way for us to see if you have a realistic idea. Who is actually going to carry out the work? How many hours do we think is needed to create something new here? And who will be involved? Is this only which persons, what kind of competences do you need at your institution and at the other institutions to make it happen? I mentioned the institutional regulations several times already, but I think it's important to stress that because we are coming from 8 different countries and 9 different institutions, and one really must listen to the experts to see, how can I use it? How will it work? In June 2025, we want a full report to be ready. So that means that if you apply by the 1st of February, you get the results in March 2024. And then you can use almost a full year from March 2024 until June 2025 to do the work, to carry out the work before you are reporting it. Because we also understand that it takes some time from getting to know that you have the money until you actually can start working on it and have some results. So trying to make a realistic and sustainable timeline here for you. Katja mentioned that one should ask for help from colleagues and different parts of your institution as something I can really support. So first of all, if you're going to collaborate with partners, with teachers from other partners, how do I find these teachers? Well, you can get help by contacting your local EUGLOH office. Because they can help and reach out to the other EUGLOH offices, and we can help you identifying who you can collaborate with. Then it's very important that you are clear with your ideas, both what you are looking for and also what you have to offer, because it will make it much easier for the EUGLOH offices to be able to identify contacts that actually is valuable for you. We are also establishing a EUGLOH guest lecturer program, and that's also a way to look for academic contacts at the other EUGLOH partners. But be a bit patient, start early with this and give us the information that you need, because it will make it so much easier for us to find the relevant contacts if you don't have them already. The Department of Pedagogical Development, either at your faculty or at your university, very valuable resource. They are the experts here. And as I mentioned, we really do want to support new pedagogical methods. Try something new. See this as an opportunity to develop something at your university that you otherwise wouldn't do. Many of our institutions have experts on how to develop joint programs. At Lund University, that person is Kristina Miolin. At other universities, there might be other experts. Or most of our universities have joint programs already. So turn to your colleagues and see what they learned when they were developing a joint program, so you don't make the same mistake as they might have been doing. So we try to make everything clear on the EUGLOH website on how to apply, what kind of initiatives we are supporting, but you are very welcome to reach out if you think of any questions, or when you sit there and you're writing the application, you have any problems or want something to be clarified. So please feel free to reach out to us by email, and we try our best to support you in your work as well. So I think that's covered some of the basic information on how the application is working and what kind of initiatives we are supporting.
Thank you, Sara. I have a couple of questions, but I will leave them for later. So we have also questions from the audience. And the first question is from Ivana Ivanchev-Tumbas. She is asking, when it comes to number of students, because you had a number of students in your presentation, the question is then, is this a total number of students which is expected of each partner has to, or each partner has to enroll this number?
Yeah, good question. So it's the total number of students which we put as a minimum, because, and we put it kind of low, especially when it comes to COILs, because we know that it might be that the smaller courses, and all our institutions, we have some courses that are really, really small, important courses, but they can't be that big. And we think that the smaller courses, they might have more to gain with collaborating. So when I'm saying that it has to be like 30 students participating in COIL, it's from the 2 partners or the 3 partners, or as many partners that are involved. So that's a total number.
Total number. Okay, we hope that is clear. If not, please write again. We also have a question from Lotta Åbjörnsson. She's asking, do the courses have to be for students, or could the prospective participants be teachers from the EUGLOH institutions?
Also a very good question. So the idea with this seed money program is to support to create courses and programs and COILs for students. In EUGLOH, we are also dedicated to teacher training and development of pedagogical methods at the partner institutions, but that's another topic. So these are for students.
But including PhD students, just to be clear.
Including PhD students, yeah.
Okay. In some countries, this is a bit confusing. That's why I want to clarify that. It's
always good to be clear with this, yeah.
It's always good to be very clear with this. Okay. Thank you. I also have a question from Boris Popov. Can you give us some brief examples of courses that have already been developed via this program or similar program? So we didn't really have this type of program, but I will let you answer this question. I don't know if Katja or Sara wants to.
Well, this is a brand new program based on our experience with EUGLOH 1.0, where we found that this kind of funding is missing. So, but I can tell you that, for example, in Bavaria, we have the Virtual University of Bavaria, in which we can develop joint e-learning programs, courses, and so on for 2 Bavarian universities. And there, the range of courses is really broad, from basic sciences, basic skills, up to very specific courses in physics. Here in this program, EUGLOH is dedicated to global health, so it should be related to global health. But please think of global health very broad. For example, you can also think about music, yeah, and compositions related to climate change and health, things like that, or arts where you have pictures, either for therapy or also illustrating aspects of health, of global health. So it's really starting from the pure medicine over pharmacy, psychology, veterinary medicine, up to arts. So, but still you should justify why you consider this as part of global health. Sara, I'm not sure whether you'd like to add something.
Yeah, I think that's very clear. This is really, as Katja said, a new initiative from EUGLOH, because we can't expect things to happen and people to collaborate without given the resources. And to create new initiatives, it takes time, it takes effort. And we really want to have this kind of bottom-up approach where we let the partners think of what is important for us. What are we missing? What can we create together, and then support the ideas that the partners are thinking of. So yeah, I said it before, but I'm saying it again. We're very excited to see what kind of ideas and what kind of initiatives this will create. Of course, we have a lot of courses already happening in EUGLOH. We also want those courses to be involving guest lectures and, partners collaborating. But I think it's to actually be on equal balance, equal terms, and create something new together will make it also easier to actually achieve what EUGLOH is all about.
And just to add, we've had some collaborations, for example, a joint program or a couple of joint program initiatives, but they didn't come from this type of funding. So this initiative with seed money is new, and therefore interesting. And it is, as Sara said, and Katja, it's also an experience we had with the first edition of EUGLOH, where we really found that, yes, we have to have some funding in order for this to happen. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens now.
Yeah, and I can also add that, when developing a joint program, of course, that program one is developing with seed money. It might be that one is looking for Erasmus Mundus funding afterwards, but we know it takes a lot of efforts to create an application and apply for that kind of funding. So this is meant to be easier, less bureaucratic and administrative heavy for you.
Yeah, it's not so. Yeah, and I want to move to other questions. So, and this is also a question that I had. Well, it's actually similar. Could you tell us a little bit more about the role of Latin America universities? And my question is more, can you actually involve universities from outside the alliance? So if you could just address maybe those two questions.
Yeah, sorry for confusing people. No, well, EUGLOH is European, so the funding is for the 9 partner universities within EUGLOH. The Latin American experience is where I, so to say, come from, where I have a lot of experience with, and this is why I have chosen this as an example. Maybe it wasn't a good example. However, you can involve partners from other universities from outside Europe into the development of a COIL, for example. However, funding is only restricted to the partners in Europe.
Yes, Sara, do you have anything to add? No, that was clear, right?
I think that was very clear. I have
that was very clear.
That.
So they can participate, but they cannot get funding from the EUGLOH budget. That's perfectly clear. Okay.
Yeah, and it might be a very good idea. And that's also why we said that for the COILs and for the courses, we are only having as a requisite that it should be 2 EUGLOH partners to make it feasible to involve partners from outside the alliance as well, because all the 9 partners, we are good universities and we have a lot of collaborations going on. So it might be that I want to involve another partner in it. So that's very good ideas to do that as well.
And we have a similar question. Jose Ribeiro is asking, we already have some BIPs planned, and we would like to include also EUGLOH partners. How can we find interested partners in a specific theme or area? We are planning also an application for an European master course. I guess that's an Erasmus Mundus master, probably joint master. And the same question as above, interested partners from EUGLOH and how to find them. This is a tricky one. Start early is sort of my take on it, but Sara, please.
Yeah, it's one way is really to make a clear description. Who are you? What do you want to create? In what field of study? What are your backgrounds? what are you looking for in the partners? Write that together, very clearly stating all these things, and contact the local EUGLOH office and ask them for help with your contacts. And then we will do our best to research our own university and see what kind of contacts we can create. And it might be that one wants to set up like a short Zoom meeting, talk more a bit about it. Perhaps it's not realistic to collaborate, or one has to move on, or one gets a lot of attention, a lot of attraction, to that. But also to get to know each other well before one is kind of, diving into the larger collaborations. So also considering, doing guest lectures at each other's courses first, and then see what kind of collaborations you can do in a COIL or a course or starting off a program. So we're here to help, but let us know very clearly what you're looking for, and don't do this at the last minute, because then it will be difficult to create something.
Then I will move to, okay, so we have one question. Could you please specify if low-income countries, for example, African Health Science University, could be included as target institutions under this frame of COILs? So again, we can collaborate, but they cannot get funds from the EUGLOH budget. They can get other funds, of course, if you have, but from the EUGLOH budget, we cannot send money outside of the 9 partner universities. Sehila Özek is asking, is it possible to have teaching staff from other universities than EUGLOH universities? If not, does the teaching staff have to be with the partner universities?
Yeah, so I mean, this seed money, it's meant to be used for EUGLOH partners within the EUGLOH institutions when developing the course, or developing a COIL, or developing a program. We want the courses, the COILs that are offered, they should be taught for the students, open for the students at the EUGLOH partners. But if one wants to involve guest lecturers or teachers from other institutions, that is of course very possible and welcome as well. So that's not a problem. We're not trying to create a closed atmosphere of only EUGLOH partners, but the objective of EUGLOH, of course, is to create new opportunities and also to make us better at creating new things as well, and to learn how we can support new initiatives in a more efficient way. So there's a lot to gain with the seed money program.
Okay, the next question is from Alexandra Konjevich. Can any university faculty participate in the program? And from the EUGLOH point of view, that's a yes. Any faculty and university in EUGLOH can participate. As Sara said before, of course, you have to sort of check with your home university, but from the EUGLOH perspective, there is no limitations.
And I think we can also stress that it's since we're looking for interdisciplinary courses, it would be very interesting to have a faculty of engineering at one partner university collaborating with faculty of humanities at another partner university and try to do something that is absolutely new in that way. The beauty of when one is teaching a COIL as well is that if we have 2 courses at 2 different partner universities, each of the partner is doing the assessment of their students and are giving their students their ECTS. So that means that you can have 2 very different course syllabuses, but you have something in common where the students work together. So these courses could be in very different fields of subject, or it could also be potentially even at different level. It could be a bachelor course in one subject and a master course in another subject, but you are exploring something together. The students are working on something together. So all these kind of, interdisciplinarity, cross-disciplinarity, this interesting mix is something really encouraged.
Yes, maybe just to briefly add, it could be very interesting, for example, thinking of LMU Munich, where we don't have engineering. Yeah. Then when we think about the course in global health, in climate change, and so on, sometimes it's really interesting to have the engineering solutions with it as well. So then partnering with a EUGLOH partner university, that this university gives the engineering part of the course could be very interesting and beneficial to our students.
To use each other's strengths, actually, it's one of the goals, of course.
Yeah, and I mean for the students, we also know that in their work life after graduated, they will have to work. Many of them will have to work in international teams, cross-disciplinary teams, and this is really something that we need to give them access to and train on. And very often they will also not travel or meet or work abroad, but they will be doing what we are doing right now, collaborating online with people with different backgrounds. So it's meant to be a realistic experience for the students as well, on what their work life will look for and how we have to work with in the future.
The next question is interesting, and I can totally relate. It's from Ira Prodanov. She's saying, she's asking, if one develops a joint program with partners, for example, a 1-year, 2-semester master degree program, when should this program start? Already in 2024? And she has the follow-up question, and I think everyone can relate to this. I asked you to complicated process of accreditation. Well, I think a lot of us are struggling with that. So we need time to complete the procedures.
Yeah, and perhaps you would like to answer that question, Kristina, but I can say that, I mean, when we are talking about if you get funding and get the information about that in March 2024, what we want to have in June 2025 is a report on how the work has progressed, what you have achieved, what you have developed. If you're developing a program, how is the structure looking like? Yeah. And of course, you have to do that before you can actually start the program. And I think, Kristina, you have more to add on this.
Well, no, it's not. I don't think it's realistic. Maybe there are universities that can do this, but in Lund, definitely not. If you start, no, yeah, Katja, I agree. If we start early 2024, it's absolutely impossible to start in the autumn with the program. So hopefully autumn 2025, and even that can be a stretch. But I think if you are thinking about creating a whole program, time is really your friend. This is it takes a lot of time. But it's good that you clarify that what you need is sort of the report on what has been done, and hopefully you have a curriculum by then, but not necessarily the formalities like the accreditation and everything else on board. But this is also not what we're looking for. Yeah, Ira Pranov is now writing that it is impossible in 2024, and it absolutely is, I think, in all universities. So no, that is not necessary. Omar de la Cruz is asking, I would like to know if there is going to be a web with information related to the teachers that are interested in this project from the universities.
Yeah, I mean, we are trying to connect teachers, and this is really one of the most important things that EUGLOH is doing, to connect all kinds of initiatives at all different kinds of levels. So yeah, and when we are creating the EUGLOH guest lecture program, the idea is that those who are looking for contacts can publish the ideas and what they are looking for on the EUGLOH website, so we can go in there and see what kind of opportunities there is for collaborations.
One important question, I think, is about the ECTS requirements. So we have a question from Kaori Takamine saying that I'm interested in applying for COILs, and I have a question about the ECTS requirement. Is it mandatory to have 2 to 4 ECTS credits for the course you teach? I teach a communication language course for first-year engineering students, but the course does not currently offer any ECTS credits, and the students' workload, exams, etc. in my course are equivalent for the course that provide 10 study points, which is in this case the equivalent of the 8 ECTS.
Yeah. So what we are looking for are supporting COILs in existing courses. And then we are talking about courses where the students are getting ECTS by the end of the course. The COIL concept is, it's a bit, when we define this collaborative part of these courses, we want that part to be between 2 and 4 ECTS in the size, but it doesn't have to be that it is a course module that is that size. But we don't want this collaboration to be too small, because then it's not worth all the work to setting it up. And we don't want it to be large, because then it's too complicated, too complex, and too difficult to find these overlaps between 2 courses. So I mean, courses that are where the students are getting ECTS, that is what we are looking for supporting.
Okay, right now there are no questions in the chat. I have just one thing I would like to comment, or maybe I don't think we addressed it. So we were talking about the possibility of making BIPs, blended intensive programs, which is part of the Erasmus program. And I guess, Sara, maybe we just have to add that if you are planning to do a BIP, you have to contact the Erasmus institutional coordinators, because it has to do with sort of what type of money your institution has for BIPs. Am I'm thinking correctly here? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah. So, because if one is developing a blended intensive program, that means that part of this course is going to be virtual, either before mobility is taking place, or during, or after. And then the students are meeting on location, on site, for at least 5 days. And from the Erasmus regulation, it has to be 3 partners involved in organizing a BIP, blended intensive program. And the students can get the funding for the mobility from the Erasmus program. But as Kristina said, that this blended intensive program, one really has to check with the Erasmus institutional coordinator at one's university to make sure that it is a possibility. And it's especially if one is the one who is going to host the BIP.
Exactly. So you can, if you cannot host the BIP, you can ask your partner to host the BIP.
Yes.
But someone has to host it, and the host has to ask and be sure that they can host it. And then the Erasmus institutional coordinator at the institution is the person to contact. Great. We have one more question from Javier Bueno. Where can we find the award criteria? For example, the relevance of the proposal, quality of the team, quality of the project design, impact, and dissemination as in KA220 projects. Thanks.
Yes, so to find more information about the seed money program, one can find it on the EUGLOH website. And we will send out a link to make sure that everyone finds it who have registered for this webinar, so you can read more about that. And when assessing the proposals, we are really looking and assessing the information that we have gotten in the proposals from following the template that's on the website. So I think it is kind of clear there what one needs to submit, and that is what is going to be assessed. But it's going to be an interesting work to compare the different proposals. Hopefully it will be difficult, because it's going to be a lot of high quality proposals. Yeah,
that's what we're aiming for. We have not so much time left for this hour. Is there anything that you would like to add, Katja or Sara? Or you feel like you have had a chance to say what you need?
Thank you. Well, I just would like to encourage everyone to think about the seed funds, and to think about what could be interesting. And then when writing up the grant proposal, to really stick to the rules, so that we don't have to reject too many beforehand. Thank you.
That's good advice.
Yeah, Yeah, I think that when one is starting to think, what do we need at our department? What do we need at our faculty? What can we do that is new and we haven't had the opportunity to create already? And when it's starting to look for partners and finding really new, good friends, new colleagues to work with, perhaps not all the proposals can be approved and not everyone can get the seed money that they are asking for. But I think it's really good to early on also have the discussion, what do we do in case we don't get the seed funding? The work that we have put into the application, can we make use of it anyway? Or can we find funding from somewhere else? So you kind of have this, of course, aiming to get the seed money and writing a good application, but also to have this plan B as well, because it's not always one is succeeding with on the first try. So can we collaborate anyway? How can we do that? How can we do it in simple and in a way that is beneficial for everyone that's involved?
And you can always join the guest lecture seminar series, right?
Yeah.
If you find good collaboration.
Yes,
so
of course. And I mean, to use the Erasmus funding for teaching
the regular
and for staff training as well. It's excellent opportunities to go and visit and see each other at the EUGLOH universities.
Absolutely. Great. We are finishing here. I want to say here towards the end, first of all, the next webinar in this series, Spotlight on Education, is going to be the source of happiness. How can we give our new students the best possible start to their university studies? And how can we create a learning environment where the student learns how to learn? That will be very interesting. It's Lila Kosic from University of Szeged and Joachim Malm from Lund University who present the concepts and open a discussion on how to get happy students that succeed with their studies. And this will be on November 15th, 6 o'clock in the evening, Central European time. And before we say goodbye, I also want to say that when leaving this webinar, you will have 5 questions that will sort of pop up on your screen, and it would be great if you could just it takes like a minute, but if you can spend this minute on just answering them, that will be very helpful. The feedback will help us develop this series of webinars. And after the webinar, as we have said before, you will get an email with link to more information, and the webinar has been recorded, so you can look at it again on the EUGLOH YouTube channel, or if you have colleagues that you think should get this information, please forward it to them. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of this Thursday. Hopefully you have more sun than we do, and hopefully we will see you again on November 15th.